Hello, Christian. Nice seeing you again.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Has everything been done for this year's Health Heroes, or do you have anything pending?
I mean, always something to do.
Of-
But I mean, right now there's just like a lot of stuff in flux and things to get done. So that's what I'm in the middle of at the moment.
Oh, okay. I hope everything goes smoothly.
Thank you.
Um, so let's talk about a little bit about last year's. So if you were to choose the highlights, what would those be?
Riding Christ set as far like Solitude Eternus. Sodom set was just nuts. Especially just like I feel like like they played really well, but just like the crowd reaction to Sodom playing was just insane. Like I mean, basically 20 years of Americans pent up going crazy. But
Uh,
other than that, I mean, there was just a ton of stuff. It was great to have Dervaza. Lamp of Murmur set was really good. I mean, there's too many things to list, but highlights, yeah, a couple of highlights were those things for me.
so what would you say went well, and most importantly, what it didn't? And how are you planning to address those?
Most everything went pretty well. A couple things like merch was a disaster, but that was we had some people quit and then somebody got hurt. So we were just understaffed and we have that figured out already for so there won't be long lines and things like that.
Great.
Also, if it rains, we have a solution to get rid of the mud faster and some things like that. So I think those were the two main things that were problems last year.
Yeah,
And
and
but every year we kind of like just look at things like I kind of already know by the festival is done, but people post it too.
mhm.
So just kind of do that and just try to fix everything for next year so everybody has a better time.
So you do check what people are saying and try.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, if anyone asks me, the only thing I would mention is the merge because the weather there is nothing you can do to control it. The only thing that was challenging with the weather, first of all, everybody was safe, is
Yeah.
getting the word out. But
Yeah.
there was a Facebook group that was, I think, worked very good.
There's not like because people don't know what you have to do when it's done, so it just gets confusing. They think they're just getting pushed out of the venue for no reason and they complain. But we got I feel like we got as many people as we could next door and inside, and then some people were out there. But luckily, the thing that was coming didn't really hit because there wasn't any lightning that got any closer. And there was supposed to be hail and some other stuff, but it all ended up going a different direction. So we lucked out.
My goodness, I didn't know about the hail and the.
Yeah, it's always something else. People are, especially, it's funny because when it's supposed to hit and then you do all the preparation and then it doesn't hit, everybody's just pissed. They're like, why the fuck did you do anything? And you're like, you don't know. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, it does matter. We should say these things because if we, you know, when the
I mean, you can try to,
system,
like, some of that, you can try to educate people, except and there's a lot of people that come to shows. So, like, if they've never experienced that or didn't work at a venue, they don't really know what happens. And you try to tell them why it's happening, but I mean, they're still going to be upset. So you just try to handle it the best you can.
do you think that the US audience is not, for the time being at least, not trained for outdoor festivals? Because in Europe, for example, in Wacken, there is always mud, right? Everywhere. So,
I mean, for sure. Like a lot of people in the U.S., there's not that many fests, and especially in this world, a lot of the people that would go to this wouldn't ever go to one of those big things like that happen. Like there's some like Rock on the Range and what those like. There's a couple. The big festivals here aren't geared towards this audience, so I don't know. I don't think a lot of them know any are experienced in going to like outdoor festivals when things
mm,
happen or not out of the norm.
so it will take some time, and hopefully, Health Heroes will be around a long time to
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
educate people for that. What about the economics? How easy to maintain the single day tickets price? And yeah, about the economics, how easy is to maintain a festival year after year?
It just depends. Like, I mean, if it's growing, yeah, everything's great. Uh, it's just kind of like a work in progress where you just kind of keep it where hopefully I'll have enough bands to continue booking and people keep coming so everything works.
Absolutely.
Luckily, everything's been good so far. So like but I'm getting close to like I've booked a lot of the bands that are in our world. And obviously there's still some that haven't, but then it gets to be when it gets tougher to get acts that everybody wants to get like to see that I can't, then I think stuff might change, but we'll see.
So, we have 3 headliners already announced.
Mm.
Is any of those that you are expecting with an extra excitement, let's say?
I'm really excited about the app set or the boss set just because every time he does Immortal songs and I've seen him, it's always great. And I've been
Mhm.
wanting him to do that for a couple of years. So I'm really happy that's happening. But yeah, I mean, not to discredit the other one. I love Saxon and then especially Crimson Glory. I've never seen Crimson Glory, so it should be a good one.
Honestly, I haven't seen either, so I'm really I have a question mark. How will the new singer sound? This singer sounds and how they will perform. So
Everything
that's
I've seen from Europe sounds great, so I'm hoping that everything will be like that, you know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I believe this time around the after parties are being held into the White Oak Music Hall inside, right?
Yes.
What prompts you to make this change uh, compared to last year's?
So last year only like the we had just part of the after party was just downstairs. But with the smaller ones that were at Black Magic, it was just too far to travel, and it kind of worked, but I couldn't come up with a system that would work to get people over there. And even like, unless you have a car, it's a lot. And even then, maybe people have been at festival all day, they want to drive over there. So just having it on premises, I think works a lot easier. There
So
was there's no clubs in the area that would really work for it. Um, but the I think this will work out well.
yeah, and last year we missed Tanith because it was kind of far away and the
Yeah.
venue was very small.
And I feel like a lot like those after shows people will go to, especially the small ones will pack out, except it's got to be closer to the venue. So that's the whole reason I did that.
Perfect, perfect. But those inside there is a maximum capacity, right?
Yeah. I mean, the smaller, I'm sure the small shows are all going to reach capacity all the time, and that's just kind of how it goes on some of those. But I mean, hopefully they all do for the bands and stuff. So we'll see. But there's also like while that's going on, there's one downstairs too. So there's different things people going. So it's not just like the whole festival trying to crowd into the small room.
Yeah, perfect. When are you planning to release the time schedule, the timetable?
Time schedule I'll do probably about in February sometime.
Okay, okay. Then the hard question: how do you handle cancellations? I mean, the latest one aside with the change with Exciter was with Gravedigger.
I mean, Gravedigger thing just got messed up early, so it was like a lot easier. And it's usually I kind of just look for something sometimes just presents itself and then it works out well. Or there was somebody I was like trying to get didn't have enough room. But I think this year's the most fans I've had kind of canceled. But that's always like I've always had some idea or some like the things hopefully to make it work. Like even if it like Agent Steel canceled last year last minute, so it was just like like I had Hellstar do a different set and do that, and then they did Agent Steel like with or Agents of Steel with Juan and stuff because like James called me and was like, yeah, I want to do this. I'm like, that's awesome. So I mean, there's some bands in the city and the state if it's like this if they're similar size to the other bands that cancel, I can fill in with like luckily, and then if I got enough time out, then I can get somebody that's a little further away.
So with Gravedigger, you said it was messed up early.
Like I think that they confirmed it, and then something happened with the tour, and they weren't going to be able to do it. So then the tour wasn't going to happen. So then the shows were like obviously the festival wasn't going to happen.
Ah, crap. Are you trying to bring Running Wild? I asked you this.
Who?
I'm laughing because I know the answer. Running Wild.
I mean, I'm going to keep trying on Running Wild, but as of now, it's not happening.
I know. Rolf is kind of difficult to.
I mean, I've heard a lot of rumors that they don't want to fly anywhere.
Well, you know what? At least the last interview I did with Rolf, he said that is not the case. This is what he said, at least.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I've heard the same rumor that he's afraid of flying. He doesn't fly. But
I mean, I mean, as always, I'm gonna approach it and see what I can do. But like always something that's like makes it a little more difficult. So we'll see what happens. Maybe.
If you were to call,
I also chase after like there's bands like that or like Manowar and some stuff where I'll just like check in and be like, hey, what do you think? And maybe it happens someday, maybe it doesn't.
Well, with Manowar right now, I shouldn't say that. I don't know, man. Is there any other band that you would consider your holy grail to bring to the to Health Heroes?
I mean, it'd be cool one like at some point just like have to do like a special set from say Judas Priest or Merciful Fate or King. So, like just but it'd have to be a special show. So it would be great. Like but we'll see.
Well, if I were to say who is easier, maybe Merciful Fate and King Diamond, especially now he's about to drop 3 albums. Maybe, maybe.
Never know. Wait,
You have Night Cobra, right?
yes.
Return to the fest. So what other news, the latest from that band?
Night
The
Cobra
last
working
album was into 2022, right?
Yeah, Night Cobra, like last year I was real busy with Necrofire, so Night Cobra hasn't done a ton. Hopefully Night Cobra will have a new record out maybe later this year.
Mhm.
We'll see. But we would just like we played Legions of Metal last year and then kind of just yeah, I mean I was just too busy, honestly. So
True. And you have with Necrofire upcoming a mini tour.
yeah, we're doing a Texas run starting on Thursday. Just doing, Austin, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio.
Perfect. Anything from Darkness and Decay?
Nothing at the moment, especially since Sammy's gonna. I mean, Trevi hasn't talked about any like new songs, but Sammy's gonna be super busy with Acid Bath all next year, so we'll see.
Okay, so
I'll
anything.
ask. Let me see what's going on because that's like the one. That's like one band that I really don't. I mean, like I contribute, but like somebody else is like at is kind of pushing it forward. So maybe.
That's yeah. What can you do? And anything else you would like to share about the festival? Um, I don't know. Anything new that the people who came last year should know for this year that have changed? That something that they will see as different.
Not too much change. I'm gonna try to add a couple more vendors just so people have some more variety out there. Also, maybe like I think in a couple areas try to have some picnic tables so people like kind of have an area to like maybe not like hang out the whole day, but if people change out, you can actually sit down and eat, and maybe some high top tables for the same thing.
What about the water condition? Are you gonna be adding those big, huge tanks more of those?
I don't think so, but like we like weather stuff is usually addressed closer to the fest because a lot of times it's like that time of year that weekend's usually great. I mean, the weekend weather was great this year. It was just the Thursday kind of had a little thing, so hopefully everything's okay for the weekend.
And since you have the pre-parties, right? Have you ever considering adding one more day instead of having after parties?
Kind of, except I don't know. I feel like there's like a adding another day means like it's a lot more bands and it's also like a kind of a different thing. So I kind of like having it where the first day can be a little bit smaller and everybody can just kind of be inside and just have it rather than just another one. I mean, if I had like if it warranted it and I could keep doing it, sure. But I feel like it's with the amount of like at least bands in the world that like for Hell's Heroes, I feel like I'm like already stretching it for how many bands I have every year.
Yeah.
Where because I mean I don't think like Hell's Heroes is gonna last forever, but I mean possibly, but maybe not. But there's a lot of there's not without just kind of repeating stuff a lot, which I'm okay with certain bands coming back. I just don't want to have it where it's just like, oh, cool, it's like the same lineup all the time because that's all that's left.
So hold
Like
on. Are you saying that since you cannot have bands doing special sets or
I
anything?
can do a lot of that, but there's only like, especially because I branched off into some other things, but like, especially in like the traditional heavy metal world, like, because that's kind of where the festival started. And it's a little bit different than not just straight traditional now, but just in like, and what, like, there's only so many bands left that are like in the older ones that I can work with to come over, if that makes sense. Or,
Yes,
I'm
but
just being like, it's kind of things. It's probably dumb to be more realistic about it. And I'm just like, yeah, cool, it's gonna be great. But it just depends on who's still playing. Other bands do reunion shows, things like that, and just kind of sees where it goes. Because I would rather the festival stop than like to totally change the identity of it completely. If
oh,
that makes
that's
sense.
interesting. So, for example, you wouldn't be willing to consider, for example, a section with more black metal bands.
I mean, black metal is cool, but I just don't know if it's the same fest if it's mostly black metal dominated, where it just like if it, that's what I mean. Like I'm completely down to have some black metal bands on it, but I don't think I really go into the death metal world much, or anything. And like a lot of modern stuff, depending on if it's not like kind of a band that has like kind of like an old feel to it, I don't know if I go that direction either. So it's just there's a lot of factors. But well, I mean, but that being said, like it's gonna happen 2026, but it's got to mess around and like get some stuff to work. So that's just like way future problems that I'm just talking about because I guess it's on my
No,
mind.
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the same situation with Keep It True, how it started and how it's going, right? But at the same
Especially in
time,
that world, like guys are getting older, and some of them aren't around anymore.
yeah.
And especially when these guys start hitting into their 70s, or like even, I mean, some of them like in the next decade will be in their 80s. Like, can they physically still play? I mean, things like that. Or do they even want to?
Yeah, yeah. It and I know what you're talking about. I'm 50 now, so I'm definitely understand that. But at the same time, it's the passing the torch, right? Because after the pandemic, the 2 years, we had maybe one entire generation that potentially can enter this world of metal. So these type of festivals kind of fill the gap, and as we said in the beginning, educate people on
I mean, yeah,
this.
if hopefully, like, in that sense, that in a couple of years, like some bands that have been like played the festival and have kind of grown will be headlining a day or go, things like that. But it's all we'll see how it goes.
But yeah,
Quite possible.
when the reality hits you, man, it's anyhow. What can we do? We are getting old, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Christian, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I hope to see you this year too. Have safe travel with your tour with Necrofire, and I hope for as minimum stress as possible for the setting up the festival.
Thank you. Hopefully everything goes smooth.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day and with less cold.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.